Here.
Get my headset. Where did you go? We have to find out if the headset is behaving today. This thing is so creepy.
You know, and there's always the fun of finding out if we're going to be having internet issues at the house, you know.
Well, there's that too.
Yeah.
That's another reason why I want to get all this set up. So that
Definitely.
we can be broadcasting out of here. Because, I have literally a business class internet connection.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I pay them to allow me to yell at them when they break it.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Where is...
All right, where is... Aha.
Hopefully that's the right hole.
Oh, did I just go? Oh, no, I didn't. I thought for a second I was in the wrong station or center.
No, I guess not.
And I know it's late, but that's what she said.
Yeah, I was waiting for that. Disappointed.
Oh,
You didn't say it earlier.
thank you, Seema.
Come on. No, that was the ball. Oops, sorry about that.
All right, and I just tweeted it out.
Come on, PC.
Retweeting again.
Wake up in there.
Retweeting again. Right, there we go.
Some guy is pinging me on Twitter.
I know, right?
Who the hell? What? What?
Okay.
Come on.
All right.
Let's see if I screw up the intro. Let me know when you're ready, baby.
You're good. You're good.
Ready?
You know what?
One second.
On.
Can you let us know when
for
we're
Muse
good?
heads.
There. Are you?
Oh, who was it? Somebody saw Muse cat. Oh no, Mia saw someone with cat ears and decided that she needs those.
Oh, for that.
Also, I think Rye wants them as well.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, we talked about see my headset's being moody, so I'm gonna have to switch. But no, we were talking about this headset.
Yeah,
because you can add the cat ears to things.
Oh, she wants any cat ear ones.
There. Now hopefully
nice shirt.
All right. Can you hear us in both ears?
Yes, I hear you in both ears now.
All right.
Oh,
I swear,
right.
this headset.
It's moody and temperamental.
Yes, it is.
It's me in a headset form?
That's a little too big for you in a headset form.
That's what she said.
All right.
All right.
Where are those? Hold on. Where's the notes? There's the notes.
All right.
I'm giving you the same look I will undoubtedly be giving you in 2.5 weeks.
I know. Hang on.
Okay.
We'll need to take another host picture, maybe when I'm not in the red dress.
There you go.
What's wrong with the red dress?
We did that last year, and it's a bit revealing.
Yeah.
No, that's not my focus. So
we'll do a good host picture at Chino's.
All
okay.
right.
Okay. Going live in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. On this episode of the AIE Podcast.
The meetup is no more.
But there will be shenanigans at BlizzCon.
There's so much to discover. The discovery in STO.
And also, Final Fantasy XIV has a huge callback.
And we're doing an all-host show.
And let's see if I can not cough during it. All that and more coming up now.
Bringing you the latest news from the AIE gaming community from planet Earth and beyond. This is the AIE Podcast.
Welcome to episode 319 of the podcast celebrating you, the Alia Octa Est gaming community. The Die Has Been podcast. I am Akala, and I apologize. I have a head cold that seems to act up when I talk, so this is going to be a lot of fun. And to my right is... Actually, let me first say to my left is Mew Cow.
Greetings, guildies. Hopefully I have no coughing going on myself.
Woohoo. And to my right and downstairs and a bit forward is Ted Semi.
I need a spreadsheet just to figure out where all the crafters are so I can go buy stuff from the vendors in Final Fantasy XIV.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say Phoenix Fan Fusion, and I was gonna
All right.
pull up the list of where everyone is. All right, and this week we're talking amongst ourselves and catching you up on what's going on in AIE. Welcome to my amazing and esteemed co-hosts.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Howdy.
Howdy! All right, so we're gonna be catching up on what we've been doing, what we want to kvetch about, how many times we've seen Avengers, all of that and more soon. But first, this week's news.
AIE News.
All right. Well, we had an officer meeting over the weekend, and due to that, which is what we do something periodically on top of meetings with more individual, individual games. BlizzCon's planning is going on for meetups with key points of discussion and posts. And it's in the events outline in the current plan. Now, Mia, are you still one of our point people for the BlizzCon meetups and such?
For the moment, that all depends on what we talk about later.
Ooh, awesome. All right. We're also working on some minor updates around the Guild website and other communication tools, so keep an eye out for that. Of course, keep an eye on the official AIE Twitter. Keep an eye on our podcast Twitter, because we always make sure that once we have the news, we make sure that it's disseminated to you guys. The various streams and podcasts for AIE are going great, and to see what's going it's a great way to see what's going on and get engaged. We, in fact, are looking at maybe doing one of those said streams for the podcast itself.
Mm-hmm.
We're always looking for more AIE streams, blogs, etc. to get posted on the Content Creator channel. And we really love to see new stuff up there. Guys, you are our community. We want to know what you're doing, how you're involved, what you're excited about. Let the officers know if you want to stream. We'll get you hooked up. Just as a side note, speaking of being involved, after a discussion between Sting and I, we decided that the AIE meetup is no longer active. It literally was costing us $15 a month for a service that we've not been using for quite a while, and it really wasn't value added. Our community's grown in a way that we don't use Meetup. We use Discord. We use Twitter. We have personal groups for different locations. So we went ahead and shut that down. You can use the event channel in Discord for real life gatherings, or if you're an AIE group in any particular community, you can actually start up your own AIE meetup group, because if you have less than 50 people, it's free.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
All right. Speaking of that community news, let's recap the mandatory fun nights that are going on, where the fun is mandatory but attendance is not. A couple of games have moved days a while back and are still testing out the days they are on, so we'll go ahead and go through the list again. Mondays, we still have Guild Wars 2 at 9:30 p.m. Eastern. On Tuesdays, SWTOR at 9 p.m. Eastern. On Wednesdays, Final Fantasy XIV is at 10 p.m. Eastern. Fridays, we have ESO at 9 p.m. Eastern. Saturdays, New Braid is in WoW at 11 p.m. Eastern. Also on Saturday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern is Lord of the Rings Online doing their mandatory fun nights. And then Sunday, STO, Star Trek Online, will be doing theirs at 8:30 p.m. Eastern.
And ducking back to talking about streaming and Guild podcast news, SWTOR Escape Podcast 289, the Star Wars Celebration Secrets, was posted this week. Seema and Max the Gray talked about the latest game news and finished up their Star Wars Celebration review with a second half discussion that they started in 288. And in podcast episode 290, the Dantooine preview, Seema and Max the Gray reviewed Daniel Steed's web content plan and then spent some time walking through Dantooine, the missions, areas, and the secrets that they've found so far. And just a reminder, they did highlight this on the thing. The web plan is a roadmap for the content they're going to put on the web, not a roadmap for the game, which is what we're really looking looking forward to, but I'm sure we'll get more from Charles and those folks as we go forward. So for now, just keep an eye out on both the Star Wars Escape podcast and keep an eye out on the SOTOR site. Working Class Nerds, episode 43, Mixer Madness. After struggling to set up the new mixer, Marcus and Nick sit down to talk about how much they're loving Mortal Kombat 11, as well as share their thoughts on the new Dantooine content on SOTOR's PTS server, which is the public test server.
All right. And in Nomad's news, nothing terribly earth-shattering is going on Division 2, but of course, we are always active there. Look in Discord for the community. Diablo 3 Season 60 is winding down now. It ends on the 2nd of May, or the 12th of May. And interest is growing in COH, and we'll be holding off on getting too involved until the details around the servers, services, and positions of the IP holders settle down. So lots of news forthcoming when it comes to the Nomads.
And that is City of Heroes, for anyone that's wondering. The
Thank
COH
you very much. Like cards of humanity, cards. Oh yeah, I did hear about City of Heroes.
Yeah, so the server code apparently got out and somebody grabbed it and they started making, of course, free to play servers because they can't charge money for other people's IP. But we'll see what the legality of all that is once that settles down. So
right.
Yeah, but still in the gray area.
Yeah, but as soon as we have any news, we will let you know.
Mm-hmm. In a not so gray area, in WoW news, BlizzCon tickets were on sale on Saturday morning at the first round.
I wonder who here got BlizzCon tickets.
Yeah, who did?
Huh.
We're wondering if you did, because we want to know who all is going. We want to use that as input to figure out what kind of meetups we're going to be planning. If there's going to be enough of us to see about creating a guild hall, maybe, and even reaching out and talking to CTR or other groups to do something bigger. But we need to know who's going. So if you happen to get a ticket on Saturday, or if you get one on Wednesday, May 8th is the next round. So for those that do get tickets, let us know. Even if you didn't get tickets and you're planning on going, let us know. We need to know who's going to show up there, because it's not going to do us a whole lot of good if no one shows up to our party.
Yep.
Exactly.
Not really a party then.
Yep. In-game WoW news, Cyrene will be starting an Alliance raid team towards the end of May, after Boy Scouts dies down, I hear. And anyone interested should ping her in the raid recruitment channel on Discord, which, by the way, that channel is pretty active. If you're looking for a raid team or a raid team that needs more people, go ahead and start chatting in there. It's pretty active. People are looking for teams. People are looking for teammates. So have a look.
And in SOTOR news, the next monthly event is next weekend, Saturday at... All right, Max, you put 8 p.m. and then didn't put anything. So I'm going to assume this is 8 p.m. Central, which would be 9 p.m. Eastern, and we'll go from there. And it is on the Republic side, Fun with World Bosses. Also, the Wednesday night Imperial Ops team is looking for a permanent DPS addition to the team. Anyone interested should contact Meilung in the SOTOR Discord channel.
All right. And in STO news, we actually have quite a bit. And we're trying to get the STO folks on sometime soon to chat with us. So if you're an STO and you want to have your directors on, Buck Corley, Bugdet, we want to have them on for a little chat about a few things. All right. The Tier 6 Tier 6. One moment. Wow. The words aren't even hard. I need water.
I think what she's trying to say is the Tier 6 ship item.
Yes.
Yes. From above and the Reposit event are still going on. Okay. We have see details above, Tet, but I don't have details above.
There are details in the STO channel.
Got it. All right. There's details about the Tier 6 ship in the STO channel. Thank you. The Fleet Spire is constructing Tier 2 upgrade and will be complete in just over 6 days. This will unlock the fleet variants of the veteran ship. Also, Star Trek Online is free to play, and we have mandatory fun nights Sundays at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. So pretty much directly after the actually it starts in 15 minutes.
Yeah, exactly.
Starting in 15 minutes, so we understand if you're going to have to leave the chat channel to go to STO. We got it. In the upcoming week for Mandatory Fun Night, the focus is going to be on low-level characters to help new players go through mission and stories. You just need to finish the mission tutorial. They're also close to releasing new rep, Discovery Legends. And introducing the Discovery...
And introducing the Discovery Legends reputation in Star Trek Online, starting with the launch of Rise of Discovery on May 14th, you'll be able to, I think that they want wield the powers, not weird the powers, but you never know.
Yeah.
And technology of the characters from Star Trek Discovery.
And there's more. A new story arc focusing on the Discovery era story, Rise of Discovery, The Impossible Reason, Star Trek Online. Experience the events that make Ellen Landry the security chief that we meet in Star Trek Discovery on the upcoming episode, The Impossibility of Reasons. Rise of Discovery brings Jason Isaacs, yay, Captain Lorca, and Rinka Sharma, Commander Ellen Landry, to STO. Star Trek Online, Rise of Discovery. Star Trek Online, learn about the past of Gabriel Lorca and Alan Landry with the newest update.
Alrighty. In ESO news, the anniversary event is still going on, but it ends this week after 5 fun-filled weeks of cake. Everyone loves cake. Early access to Elsewhere begins on May 20th, and the official release is June 4th. Please save the beginning quest for that zone on at least one tune until the first Mandatory Fun Night after the official launch, because the ESO Mandatory Fun Night will be starting that zone together. Until then, Mandatory Fun Nights will be zone clears and dungeon runs every Friday night at 9 p.m. Eastern.
Yep. And in EVE, speaking of exploding space murder hobos, war continues, and the merge of some global factions into the mix has made things interesting. The Corp is always looking for new pilots and spies. It's a bit of a dive down the rabbit hole, but the team is always happy to help support new folks and returning folks.
So I did not resist the urge. I'm pleased to find interesting. I tried to resist the urge.
If you want interesting, we'd have to have Lank on, and then the show would go 2 hours. And
True. I was gonna go with oh my god, we're all gonna die.
Yeah.
All right. In Guild Wars 2 news, lots of people are working on Alt at the moment. The Mandatory Fun Group is getting together on Mondays on occasion. Check in with Dejarev to find out what is going on. Also check the Discord channel pins for the new reference post that does a great job at laying out the open world changes that have occurred over time.
Indeed.
And also, Disturbed Angel reminded us in the podcast channel that episode 6 is coming out soon.
Ooh, true.
Yep. In fact, I think if you log in, you can get one of the chapters for free for just logging in. So that's why I was poking at it the other day.
Awesome.
But in Final Fantasy XIV news, get settled. There's a lot of it.
Yep.
The callback campaign is on. Callback. If you have someone from the FC or just one of your friends that's on your friends list that hasn't been in the game for about 90 days, you can click on your friends list and say, hey, invite them back. In doing so will reward both of you between April 25th and June 3rd. The invited player must have an expired sub for 90 days and still have their account in good standing. In other words, they couldn't have been banned for some reason.
Right.
Marked as hacked or taken by gold spammers or whatever. The invited player will get 7 days of free game time. They'll get 99 Aetheryte tickets, which are pretty valuable. That essentially means free teleports all over the place. And you'll get 10 silver chocobo feathers, which are turned in for gear to help you get caught up on any classes that might be behind. The inviter will get 10 gold chocobo feathers, which is mostly for mounts. There's a Twintenian mount. There's a 2-person chocobo mount, so they can drag you around, or you drag them around. Either way. Some rare dies, and you can get your own Aetheryte tickets. But there's several places to get those. They're very valuable. For those that haven't already jumped on it, the Final Fantasy 15 crossover event is still going on and ends on May 27th. If you have at least one level 50 character and have done, I believe it's ARR, the original 2.0 version of the game, you'll be able to participate in this. You'll be able to get the Regalia, which is the car from Final Fantasy 15. It is the first 4-person mount in game, which is a big deal. The mount costs 200,000 Mandeville gold saucer points, which is from the fancy casino that Tets might have stumbled into and lost.
Just maybe, yeah.
Just maybe. But, if you think 200,000 gold saucer points is a lot, actually, it's not that much. And in fact, to assist, the Free Company has been running the Free Company buff Jackpot 2 on Saturday and Sunday during the event. This will provide a bonus to all MGP rewards. The biggest reason for that is on the weekends, the fashion show happens. The fashion show is a huge source of gold points. You can get a minimum of 10,000 points, which then gets bonused if you have the jackpot on. But if you manage to get 80% or higher in your score, you get an extra 50,000. So honestly, you can get this done so quickly. I've actually done it in one weekend from 0. So it is something that's very doable. There are various ways to get MGP being discussed in the Final Fantasy XIV channel in Discord. So drop on by if you want some ideas on farming them up. The current rewards and the buff, many players have been able to get enough MGP in 1 to 2 weeks of time of casually doing it. Like I said, you can do it in a weekend if you really want to get it done. If you happen to have the starter edition that you got free from the Twitch Prime promotion, Square Enix said, you know what? We're going to give you Heaven's Ward for free too. All you have to do is ask for it. It is free until June 27th. So whether you got it from the Twitch Prime promotion or just happen to have only gotten the regular 2.0 version of the game, you can now get the 3.0 version of the game, Heaven's Ward. It'll be added to your account, and you get to keep it permanently. No strings attached. This includes PC version, macOS version, and PS4 editions. So jump on and get that.
So does it just automatically unlock, or do you have to do something?
I think you have to do something. You still have to purchase it, but it's a free purchase. It's 0.
Okay, got it.
You just say, blink, and it's done. But you have to actively do it. Like, it's just not going to do it for you. They want you to do it, but it'll work for that free game.
Does it... You said 3.0, so is that like WoW expansions? It's not the 3.0 of the game, it's the 3.0 expansion, right?
It's Heaven's Ward. So yeah, so it's
yeah,
as
okay.
It's their version of like doing Burning Crusade. Burning Crusade was
Gotcha.
2.0.
Okay.
So, but because 1.0, we don't talk about 1.0. 1.0 was the old version of the game that they literally burned to the ground. So 2.0 is where the game started new. Heaven's Ward's 3.0. Shadowbringers is 4.0.
Okay.
Sorry, no, I'm reading the screen, so it's confusing me. Stormblood is 3.0.
3.0, yeah, and the new one's 4.0, yeah.
4.0. Wait, I'm getting those all mixed up again.
Shadowbringers is 4.0, right?
No, ARR is 2. Heaven's Ward is 3. Stormblood is 4. Shadowbringers is 5.
Okay.
It's so crazy.
All right, Final Fantasy math. Got it.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, we don't start with 0. We don't start with 1. We start with 2.
All right, that makes perfect sense.
Yep. But speaking of all those numbers, Shadowbringers, what we were trying to say, 5.0, is slated to be released July 2nd. But if you did pre-order it, you can start on June 28th. If you pre-order the expansion, you will get access to all of the previous expansions if you have not already bought them. But that will happen on the Head Start date. So if you're still now on Heaven's Ward, if that's enough to keep you busy, go ahead and do that. But if you want to get into Stormblood, you'll have to buy it or wait until June 28th for it to be part of Shadowbringers. But yeah, the big thing about getting Shadowbringers pre-expansion is you get this neat little mini Aetheryte earring that gives you an experience boost. All the way to 70. So yeah, you want to get that thing, and it's kind of cool. They decided to kind of steal the heirlooms from WoW. It actually levels with you.
Great.
So level 1 to level 70, you can keep that same earring, and it'll automatically do its thing for you.
Perfect.
But in FC News or the Guild for Final Fantasy, the Vault has lots of goodies in it. If you need something from there, grab it, because we put it there for you to grab. It's just sitting there collecting dust. So please take from the Guild Vault. There's all kinds of fun stuff in there: cosmetics, there's some pets, there's helpful items, feel free to grab something that strikes your fancy. The vault is available in all major cities, and it's also available in the actual FC house. And the Shadowbringers Media Tour will be hitting mid-May. We're expecting to get some more details on the new classes of Gunbreaker and Dancer, and maybe a little bit more on what's going on with the races of Viera and Rothgar. Drop down in the Final Fantasy XIV channel in Discord to help get you started in your Final Fantasy adventure. Not to be confused with Final Fantasy Adventure. That's a very old game, very confusing. But come join us. Come join them.
Awesome.
And thank you, Abbo, for all the amazing Final Fantasy information. He's our point man when it comes to all things Final Fantasy.
And we appreciate that.
We do.
All right. And in Lord of the Rings Online news, mandatory fun nights do continue on Saturday nights. Join Mei Lung and others while they simply walk into Mordor and such.
I thought you didn't just simply walk into Mordor. Okay, so with that, let's find out what we have been doing, what we're looking forward to, and what's cooking in the Guild Kitchen?
Pretty much, yeah.
Pretty much. All right. Well, according to this, I guess I'm starting?
You are.
I am. All right. So the lovely cold that I have, that came when I was in Boston a few weeks ago, which is why I was in the chat room, but not on the show 2 weeks ago. Had a great time. Basically, my virtual bestie, Trey, and I met in Boston. We went to Salem for 2 days and then Boston for a day. Just kind of exploring all the sites. We did all the fun, spooky stuff in Salem. Did a ghost tour. Actually, may have bumped into something. Walked down to Gallows Hill, which is oddly enough not where we bumped into a ghost or ghost bumped into us.
Well, yeah, but why would they want to hang out there anyway? It's
Exactly. But yeah, be careful in alleyways at 10 o'clock at night in Salem. You're not going to get mugged, but stuff might just kind of pass through you. It was a good time.
Yeah.
Which is why we then chose to walk to Gallows Hill during the daytime.
Probably a good idea.
Even our ghost tour guy was like, "Yeah, I can tell you where Gallows Hill is. Don't go at night." We're like, "Oh yeah, we're totally going at night. We're totally going at night." And then, about 10 minutes after that happened, we were on our way to dinner after the ghost tour, and yeah. After that, we looked at each other like, okay, we'll go tomorrow. That sounds fun. But Salem's a great place. Lots of really interesting history, not just the witch trial stuff, but the House of Seven Gables that Hawthorne based the book on is there. Salem was the 9th largest city in colonial America. So there's lots of really fascinating history, and they keep it very alive. Really, really good food. Had a blast. And then we went on to Boston, where we did the Freedom Tour on Friday, which is a great, a 5-mile round trip walk through the Revolution. You get to see, the churches, the meeting houses, where Paul Revere hung the lanterns, side the Boston Tea Party, side the Boston Massacre, the Constitution, the ship, the Constitution, Bunkers Hill. Did that, ate a lot, good time. Then she had to take off, so on Saturday was exploring Boston with Amy Frost.
Yay.
And then Easter, and then and then kind of exploring stuff on my own on Monday, and then back to Tet. So that is why I was not on the show the other night.
You're just a little busy.
I was. But speaking of what was cooking in the Guild Kitchen last Sunday, we had a kind of a fun, interesting kind of guild event in our own house. We had a D&D one-shot that was actually run by Ben the Mage, because Ro, who is a member of the first raid team, was in town staying at our house. So we had Brunches and Dragons with you've been to my place for brunch. It's a bit of a adventure. Yep. So it was Tet, myself, Never, John Jagger, and Ro, and then Ben Alanya was running the game. Great time. It went actually longer than anticipated, which I think was really good, because when you're doing a one shot, a lot of the times you don't know what's going on. You don't know how long it's going to last, but it went longer than intended, which made it worth it.
Yeah, it's usually a good thing.
It is. Let's see, con prep's going on. Phoenix Fan Fusion Phoenix Fan Fusion. We've changed the name 3 times.
FanFest, Fan Fusion.
Yeah. It starts May 23rd. So of course, Vicella and I are vendors, and we just got our headbands done last night and inventory. That's the earliest we've ever been done, which now means I have a bunch of pieces of jewelry to make.
Yep.
And if you
lot
are
of jewelry to make.
jewelry to make. I got 7 pieces out last night. If you are headed to Phoenix Fan Fusion, we do have some meetups. Yes, like Mew and Mrs. Mew.
Mm-hmm.
We do have some meetups planned. We have Chino Banditos on Wednesday before the con, and Mother Bunch Brewing, which is right by the convention center, on Sunday after the con. So that's kind of what I've been up to. In, out of game, going a little crazy. And Mew, what about you? What have you been up to besides dealing with baby spew at the grocery store?
Well, that's always the best place to have that happen.
Right?
Yeah, no. Other than puking toddlers, probably more, gaming, but a little of our own con prep. Nowhere near the level you guys are doing. More just making sure we have plane tickets and a place to stay, and all that other kind of fun stuff. But pondering the whole BlizzCon thing. Because I was one of the ones that managed to beat the RNG god and get a ticket to BlizzCon. Actually, 2 of them. But it's a little late in the year for them to announce that. Really,
it really was. Yeah.
A lot of people kind of we're making plans. Otherwise, like, oh, no big deal. We can take a year off. No big deal.
Yeah.
So as a result, it's one of those things where it's kind of up in the air. We need to see, are people even going to show up? Because
right.
They just announced that Gamescom is not going to be, or they're going to announce anything this year. So, and they've kind of told us there's nothing new is coming out for a while. They're going to be hunkering down and busy doing work. So
yeah.
So, and the sad thing about the Gamescom announcement is tickets for Gamescom have been on sale for 2 months already. Mm-hmm. So people bought tickets with the assumption Blizzard would be there, and now they're not going to be there.
Yeah,
right.
I mean, it's essentially that's been BlizzCon Europe.
Yeah, exactly.
So at least as far as Blizzard fans are concerned, but so it's kind of surprising, but again, also not surprising, like surprising and not surprising, and both at the same time, because it's like, well, they told us nothing new's coming out,
right?
I guess they feel that they have enough to announce that they're going to have a BlizzCon.
Right.
Or it's the other thing is they're going to lean on the esports really heavily, because they're just getting bigger. And in fact, I'm kind of curious if the Call of Duty stuff is going to get dragged into BlizzCon or not, since it's on the launcher. I don't know if they're going to keep it separated or what, but apparently they're going to do esports with Call of Duty, which is kind of curious. But they're excited about how well the Overwatch League is doing. People are wearing the shirts and really getting into it. I have been watching the Overwatch League, and unfortunately, the fan that I've been rooting for is decided to take a page out of Shanghai's old playbook and not win anything this season.
It happens.
It happens, yeah. Pretty exciting. They had a big deal. Unfortunately, I didn't get to make it, but they had a big event over in Dallas where they had the Texas, clash. And
that was the first quote unquote home series, right?
Yes, because that is Dallas's home arena.
Yeah,
they're one of the first teams to actually already have their stuff in place. So, and you kind of can't count the Los Angeles Gladiators and the Valiant, because they live there. But that's Dallas is the first one. I think there's one other team that might finally have something. I forget who it was though. But yeah, they're definitely starting to spin out. Like, I'm wondering if we're going to start seeing more home games, at least by the next year, which is good. Pretty interesting. But For me in gaming, I've probably been spending a lot of time in Final Fantasy 14. It's definitely got its grip on me, and honestly, not just because of the new expansion coming out. It's just I'm playing in all facets. I'm playing in all expansions right now because that's kind of neat that if you can create an alt and that alt can be in a different expansion than the other ones. So, but you don't have to. Other than that, I have been doing a lot of raiding. We'll let Tet talk more about that for FERT stuff, but with Horseshoes and Hand Grenades, we've been working on the heroic versions of the Cabal and the Unat. They're tricky because it's unlike BOD where you kind of have your ramping up, and then it gets harder as you get along. It's mid tier boss, high tier boss. It's like bam, bam, like two huge walls right in your face. And while getting through the normal was doable after a bit of effort, the heroic changes definitely ramp quite a bit up. Like it's not like the first boss in BOD where going into heroic isn't really that bad. It just hits a little harder, no big deal. Mm-hmm. But this is you're going from the mid tier boss in normal to the mid tier boss in heroic, and it's like, oh, this hits a whole lot harder. It's like, ooh.
Right.
So yeah, there's been a lot of work on that. I definitely recommend everyone keep an eye on the raid team news, the raid team recruitment. It's been a lot more active. We like seeing that. We have a lot of active teams. They need people. If you have ever thought about dipping your toe into raiding, they're looking for people. Noob raid's a great place to start because they literally will take anyone. If you are level 120, they don't care what your gear score is. They just want you to come in and have fun.
Right.
So it's a good place to start. In fact,
and Dan Kinney does a great job at with that environment.
Herding cats.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep. And we've got some patient raid explainers on that team from what I hear. So it's going to be a good time. It's really not that hard. In fact, just yesterday I took Mrs. Mew through LFR version of the Crucible of Storms, and we one shot that, so that was pretty fun.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's easier than ever to get into the deeper story of WoW. I definitely recommend that, and it's easier than ever to play Final Fantasy 14. There's a lot of people wanting to play. The big server move happened, so transfers I think are still free. If you didn't manage to get your character moved from Gilgamesh over to Goblin, do it now before the window closes. That's pretty much been my focus.
Very cool.
How about you, Tets?
Yeah, what do you have to Tet?
Oh, a little of this, a little of that. The big thing that we've been focusing on was we finally got a decent group together and went after Jaina, thanks to Ro for extending his lockout or getting us a lockout after dealing with the foobar that is the Blizzard lockout system now, because we had it Sunday and then Wednesday everything reset. We went to extend and we didn't have it, so he went and actually did pickup groups in the looking for group finder to get the lockout and got us the lockout. So we extended on Wednesday and got Jaina down 2 pulls with, I think only Ro was technically left ice blocked and alive. The 2 tanks were stuck in ice blocks because we didn't die, and so Ro was the only one that took her the last 2% before she teleports out. Spoiler alert. So we are pretty much done with that raid because it's just. And this is me getting older, so I'm going to admit this, being grumpy.
Yeah.
The mechanics are just getting to the point where it's not fun raiding anymore. It's just the mechanics are so pay attention to this, and if you do it wrong, somebody screws up, it's it's a wipe and you got to start all over again. And that's not why I'm interested in playing the game. I'm not,
I miss Flex, honestly. I missed the Flex difficulty. It was perfect for our group.
Yeah, exactly. So, but we got that down, and then we stuck our head into Crucible of Storms, watched the video, and I knew exactly how with our
Yeah.
raid team that was going to go, and it was about an hour of no, this isn't working out. So we we tried it. We're going to try it again tonight and see if we can at least get the first boss down. But in the meantime, because and I hit 50 on my necklace tonight before the podcast, so I do not need Azurite power whatever anymore, which is fun
For now.
Until
8
yeah, so I could focus on just doing the emissary quests and getting those done and getting that. I did get 4 pets that I didn't have off the island adventures today, because I ran 4 islands. The first 2 I didn't get anything except the bag, and then the next one dropped 2 pets I didn't have, and the next one dropped 2 pets I didn't have. And then the map mission, which I was hoping for Residium, turned out to be a 310 transmog piece. So I'm like, it's fine. I didn't need with my luck it would have been the Azurite, but I was hoping for the Residium mission, but didn't get that. So that did that. And then I have been spending a lot of time in Final Fantasy 14 because unlike WoW, which is a very vertical game, and now having played Final Fantasy 14, I understand what Blizzard is trying to do when they say they're trying to go with a horizontal progression. Because with one character, you can do essentially 3 gathering professions and 6
I think it's like
tradecraft professions, and any of the actual battlecraft classes you want to do. So I have my archer at 27, and then I have most of my tradecraft and gathering craft between 16 and 20 right now, and I'm slowly working on those because every 5 levels you unlock the quest for that class or job that you're working on, which is always a nice you've reached a point, now go do this, and it's fun. So I have been spending a lot of time in Final Fantasy 14 while I wait for new Star Wars content to come out, because I love the Star Wars content, but the thought of having to do more dailies, I just I'm sorry, I can't, I'm out. Hopefully with 6.0, they've already said, that was one big news that came out for 6.0 is if you have any unassembled components, use them now, because it's not going to be figured into this. They're not going to be used in 6.0. So to me, that means they're doing a whole new gear system. I'm not raiding in that game. I'm just there for story content right now. I don't need the best of the best gear. I don't need the 252 and 258 pieces. I can't bring myself to do the dailies right now with having the WoW dailies, doing those.
Right. So you only have enough time in the day for the dailies.
Yeah.
Or enough attention. Honestly, that's what it is. I have time.
Monotonous. Yeah.
Well, it's not even monotonous. It's just the reward doesn't scratch that itch for what I'm trying to accomplish in the game. So, but like I said, 6.0 is supposed to be out in September, so we'll see. We've got 5.10.3 Dantooine coming out, which is supposed to open up a new rotating weekly, which will be fun. So we'll see when that gets into rotation, once that's released, what that's like. I'll jump in and we'll do that for mandatory fun nights and explore that. So that'll be fun. And then in our I think we did our pen and paper campaign. You talked about the one shot, and in our Monday night game, we covered that we did get the murder on the ship solved, and we're now on the next piece of that. So
right. So we're to the island, trying to deal with whatever is there. But unfortunately, because it's a small group, if one person is out, we don't play. And I was out a few weeks ago. Kinney is in Vegas right now. Vakella is going to be in New York next week. So we're on a short hiatus for that reason. Hopefully once con, we can even play the week of con, honestly. But once once everyone's done with travel, we'll get back to that.
Yep, exactly. So that is what I have been up to.
Great.
But I did have a question for you two.
Uh-oh.
Yes,
Since
sir.
we've been talking a lot about games and
Yeah.
other things. So when you look at picking up a game or playing a game, joining a game, purchasing a game, pen, paper, board game, computer game, I realize that's 3 different mediums. But
Right.
what is it you're looking to get out of that game, and what is it you want to put into that game, for your enjoyment? So, McCullough, what about you?
Well, when it comes to a pen and paper RPG, I'm a very character driven person. I like having games that are character driven where I can develop that personality and that side of me, and even kind of build that camaraderie with my fellow players. Now, sometimes the campaign is very module oriented, which happens. Like my Thursday night game, we're doing from King's Thunder. It's fun. I enjoy it. But one of the main reasons I enjoy it is because of the personalities in it and kind of seeing these characters grow and develop together. Our weekend game, which is the Tadpole game, another Tadpole game, it's definitely more handwritten. The DM has developed the world. And I really love the character that I'm playing, but what I'm liking the most is, even we were doing it via Discord today, just me and one of the other players were joking because we have very similar characters. Her character is a scholar. She, I think, cloistered scholar is her background. My character is a college student. Her background is sage. So we're very similar when it comes to our backgrounds and our interests, but the personalities diverge from there. We she's very out there. My friend's character, she's very out there. She's very flirty. She's very kind of obsessive or possessive with the knowledge that she gains. Like, no, this is my knowledge. You can't have it. Where my character, is, she's a prude. She's very, very, she's focused on knowledge. She wants to discover knowledge and share the knowledge. But because she is a blessed, which is based almost an Assamite, she has like a gold undertone. And we've now coined the phrase, she blushes in rose gold.
Oh, nice.
And so we were talking about the uses for Mage Hand today, and via Discord, I'm like, oh wow, yeah, Ori's blushing in rose gold, because this is knowledge I didn't need.
Right.
So to me, it's always about building that story, even if the story is cut and dry, kind of boring. Not kind of boring, but it's by the book. Building that story around those characters, which I really like.
But you do that even in, like, when you were playing World of Warcraft or Secret World, you use the what the game allows you to do as your base, but then you go off from there and develop the backstory or the personality from the character. If you're not reusing a personality,
I do it the opposite, though. I actually take personalities that I've been in a game, in a RPG, and say, how can I translate this to that character and make it maybe a different adventure of somebody who I am, which is why when you sat down, like, okay, you liked your rogue, but rogue's not a great class for you. Here are some other options of some classes that really might work for your play style.
Right.
And immediately you're like, okay, so so maybe a hunter, maybe a class that has a pet, because that way you have someone to help you fight. So you can have a hunter. I'm like, okay, well, we have hunters. I have that. You can have a mage. I'm like, okay, that sounds okay. Or you can be a warlock. I'm like, wait, one of my favorite characters was a witch named Makala.
Right.
All right, let's go with that warlock idea. So that to me, it's always the character. Now, when it comes to like a board game, I really enjoy, let's face it, I like being competitive. Which is funny because I'm not competitive at all. I'm a very uncompetitive person. The only person I usually like in things I'm trying to beat, if I'm at the gym, if I'm on the mountain, I'm trying to beat myself. I'm trying to be my own best. But when it comes to a game, ask never. I am
Yes.
competitive. Like, we had a very,
Yeah.
very famous game of Munchkin. Abbo and his wife were there. Some other people were there at a hallway at Nerdtacular at 3:30 in the morning, 2:30 in the morning, when I
Yeah.
just looked at them and said, guys, it's late. Most of us are traveling tomorrow. Just let me win the game and we can all go to bed.
Exactly.
So to me, it's competitive. I mean, we played Kill Doctor or Kill Mr. Lucky at Snakes and Ladders the other, or Snakes and Lattes
Snakes and
the other day.
lattes.
Same thing. So yeah, I tend to be a little more competitive with my board games.
Yeah, and speaking of which, we need to definitely see if we can sneak over for a couple hours when Mew and Mrs. Mew are in town.
Yes. Well, isn't that weekend close to someone's birthday?
I think it
No idea
is.
what you're talking about.
Right. Yeah. Well,
bells.
if
Ring
you
bells.
don't get the chocolate cupcakes, you don't admit to the birthday.
No.
Yes,
No.
exactly. So what about you, Mew? What are you looking for to get out of a game and to put into a game?
Pretty much story. It's I was a really into books until I realized that I can get what I get out of books from video games. Especially because one of my favorite types of books to read was the Choose Your Own Adventure and
Right.
various stuff like that. So it just, I found that the other bad thing about books is, especially longer ones, is that I would just sit there and read them and forget everything else in the world. I would, forget to eat. I would forget to sleep and stuff like
Yep.
that. At least with video games, there's a time, the time of the day is right there in your face. It's, oh, my head.
Right.
But yeah, it's story. It's what always would have come back to. I can put up with bad mechanics if the story is good, kind of thing.
Right.
But number two is fun. I have to enjoy what I'm doing as well. If you have a bad story and it's not fun to play, I'm not there. You don't see me there right now. That's just how it works. And three, depending on the medium, it's can I do this with my friends?
Right.
And
Yeah.
with pen and paper, well, you kind of have to. There's no getting around that. Like, you're sitting in the corner with a book and talking to yourself, which is perfectly fine. But typically, that's not happening. Typically, you're doing that with friends. You're making the story, so you better hope the story is good. And the pen and paper is fun, so there you go. It takes care of all three there. But with board games, I'm actually the opposite. I don't like competitive board games. I actually prefer the cooperative. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So your Forbidden Islands. We just got Forbidden. What is it? I forget the name, but it's where you're on like essentially a space station. It's by the same people.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
We've been playing that. That's a fun game because again,
Where you have to cooperate against the game itself.
yes,
Right.
That's what I prefer. Like Pandemic. Like I
Right.
like straight up Pandemic, not the one where there's someone trying to kill everyone.
Right.
Yeah.
That's not quite as fun. There's some a friend of ours that used to work for Wizards created some really neat D&D board games, which essentially gave you character sheets that you can kind of do a little bit of playing with, but it has all the board pieces, and you're trying to do essentially a dungeon with this board game.
Right.
That's always what I've been into is those cooperative, collaborative types of games. It's just a lot more fun to me. But with computer games, you're going to see me. It's pretty much always in either a multiplayer or a co-op game. I do occasionally like my single player games, but I kind of feel like they take me away from everyone a little too long.
Yeah.
But I'm really looking forward to Borderlands 3 that's coming out soon, in a few months. That's always been a really great co-op game. It's a lot of fun. It's the story is actually very intriguing. I like the lore of the land, but I've been trying to do the Telltale series, but it only has story because the gameplay is pretty limited and you can't play with your friends. So it's not quite as a draw. So the only reason I'm playing it all is just because I don't want to miss out, because there is some story, but essentially between 2 and 3 that you might miss out if you don't do Telltale. Of course, they're going to do a good job of rehashing it, but you'll miss out a little bit if you don't have what's going on. But yeah, it's pretty much for me. Story, is it fun? Can I do it with my friends?
Yep.
And then how about you?
And I mean that's pretty much we're pretty much in sync. As McCullough will attest to, I don't think because McCullough, you hadn't seen me play a rogue in D&D before, right?
Nope.
Yeah.
In the 30, no, not 30, in the 25, 27 years we've been playing together. Yeah, I've never seen you play a rogue.
Yeah. And so I have a very different approach to, like, McCullough has her rogue, which our DM in our Monday night campaign calls completely overpowered and ridiculous, and she's a swashbuckler. My rogue was based on a scout, and the backstory was this was the person you send in to get into a place, get the information, and get out without initiating any combat. In fact, if it came down to combat, he was doing the job wrong. Kind of, not Assassin's Creed, because it wasn't even the assassination part. It was like he would disable somebody and just get out.
That sounds like Dishonored, if you've ever played that series.
Yeah. And so we used it to our advantage because
that's amazing.
one of the things that happened was we were on this trail and I was scouting ahead, as you do, and there was a woman trapped in quicksand with, her stuck in quicksand yelling for help. So me being I don't trust this trope just because went up in the tree stealthily and dropped the rope down to her, leaving, part of it up in the tree so she could just pull herself out of the quicksand or grab the rope and I would pull her out, without being seen. And she pulled the whole, no, my hands are stuck in the quicksand. I can't even get my hands out to grab the rope. And so I snuck back to the party and told them what was going on. And I think McCullough's character essentially did detect.
Yeah, I did. She was the paladin, so did detect good and evil.
Right. And figured out that, it was a trap and the thing was evil, whatever it was. So we sent, John's character up, and who was the one that got her to transform? Do you remember?
I don't.
Well, anyway, so there was somebody took a shot. Basically, it's a thing of evil. It needs to be destroyed. And it turned out that it was a hag, and the hag was trying to lure us back to the house. And what the hag forgot was the rope was still there. So I made a sleight of hand check and a dexterity check and essentially just flicked the rope so it wrapped around her neck. And I just kind of pulled her off the ground because she started casting.
Yeah.
And then the next turn, after the party got into the fight, she put her talons up to try and rip the rope off. So I did the same thing with sleight of hand trick and wrapped her hands around the rope. So now I had her like a piñata, and that was game over at that point.
Yeah. So we took care of 3 hags all separately.
Yeah.
Which was great. And then he threw a beholder at us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's the kind of thing that I look for in games is, can I bring the personality of the character out through game mechanics and enjoy the story. So that's one reason I do love the pen and paper, but it's the other reason I play a tank is because I want to go do this quest and I want to explore it all. And I really don't want to have to worry about staying alive. I just want to get through this and do what my character would do, on a lot of things. And that's why a lot of the earlier raids we did in WoW, were, mechanically challenging, but we could get them on farm, and we've got like the first 6 bosses or 7 bosses of Battle for Dazar'lor on there but the last two bosses, Blockade and Jaina, it's just like, those aren't fun. We're not going to do them. And then the two Crucible bosses, it's the same thing. It's all mechanics, and there's no interesting story part to me in either of those.
You get all the story from the quest line, honestly.
Right. Well, I think that was, and Ben mentioned that on his podcast. He was really disappointed because we killed Jaina and she teleported out, and there's a chest, and that was it. There was no cutscene, no video, nothing, and it was just like, that's it. That's really anticlimactic.
Yeah.
So, but go ahead.
I was going to say we had some feedback from Disturbed in the chat room. He says what his for him is a large-scale world building, the storytelling, the combat, and finally, a chance to be the inner edgelord.
Yeah, and you are roboting really badly.
Okay.
Sorry, but yeah. So large-scale world building, storytelling, combat, and finally can be his inner edgelord / DK. Yeah. I mean, that was one of the things I had fun. Speaking multiplayer stuff. My daughter and I played Minecraft on a server that we had for a while because we could go in, and she did the same thing with her friends. They'd go in and create buildings, create areas, set up a merchant shop, and create that story in that sandbox. And that's what I love. That's why I want, more story in Star Wars, because I love the story they're telling, but I want more of it so I can explore the character in it. The same thing with WoW right now is once you got through the 815 storyline and the raid, now it's mechanically you're just doing dailies, and it's like, sorry, checked out. I'll go play Final Fantasy 14 because that has the story and all the content. So
and the continuing story. It's kind of what I wanted to talk about when you were talking about the crafting stuff earlier. Everyone that enjoyed in Legion the class stories.
Yes.
Final Fantasy 14 has had that from the beginning. That every single class has an ongoing story. It is its own unique little storyline that progresses as you get higher in level. And they're just so interesting. You learn so much about the world, about your class, that you don't otherwise get from the main story quest.
Yeah.
And then there's other side long running stories too. Each raid is its own separate story, and it might wind back into the main story, but it's off on its own. Like for the first, like one of the first raids that came out in 2.0, the Crystal Tower is actually going to start affecting Shadowbringers. But it was its own thing. In fact, they changed the requirements to get to the raid because they knew a lot of people would be trying to pile in there because they knew that it was going to be relevant now. But there's some really good story in that raid, and it's super easy. It's easier than LFR to get through that now. And
nice.
They got rid of all of the attunement that you had to do to get in. Now it's literally just talk to the dude, he sends you there. You're done. So,
gotcha. Cool.
So that is a whole nother storyline of interesting content for people to do. And each time a new expansion came out, there was a huge raid. Like for Heaven's Ward, there is the Alexander raid that has its own storyline. There's a giant robot sitting in a pond somewhere that that has its own thing going on over there. Then in Stormbringers, there was the Omega stuff. Omega is the ultimate weapon, and it's doing some crazy stuff that's off on its own quest line over in the corner somewhere. It's fascinating. And actually I think there was 2 raids for Stormblood. There was one that actually goes back to an old Final Fantasy. I forget which Final Fantasy it was, but was the Sea of Rabanasta or something like that. Again, a whole nother storyline to go on, and it's compelling, and there's just so much story in that game. That's why I keep going back. I keep getting dragged back into some new thing. There's the holidays. The holidays are an ongoing story. They don't just rehash the same holiday every year. It is
right. They add to the story and continue it.
Yes. So, but in the way they do the holidays, luckily, is you're not going to feel like you've missed out. Yes, you're going to miss some stuff, but like it's a continuing story. But you can still jump into the story when the new holiday comes out. It's okay. But It's just the stuff they do with story is always fascinating and always brings me back constantly. Whereas I'm sitting here waiting for the next bit from WoW.
Yeah, exactly.
The next bit from SWTOR. Once we did, they did really good with those story chapter stuff. That was awesome. But then once I finished the story, it's like, okay, now what?
Yeah, and honestly, that was, you want to start an argument with a Star Wars fan for Old Republic, argue whether the 1 to 50 was the better, or Revan, not Revan, the Knights of the Fallen Empire, throne are the better part of it. And honestly, I would take more 1 to 50 content than the chapters. The chapters were awesome, but I felt my character came alive as what I was playing more in the 1 to 50, as opposed to I'm playing a trooper in this storyline that everyone else is going through. They're just going through as a Sork. They're going through as this. Right. The 1 to 50 storyline was I'm an operative. I'm playing a Chiss operative, which is an alien and a female on the Imperial side, dealing with all the prejudice and everything.
As you can get.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, McCullough, do me a favor. Switch your microphone on Discord and then switch it back and see if that works. So,
it's the story. It's the story that keep me coming back.
Try it again.
Any better?
Still real buddy, but we're near the end, so we'll make it. But the big thing where all of this kind of ties in is to the AIE Guild, because a lot of the MMO games, or as McCullough will attest to, 2 of her D&D games, all go back to AIE Guild, people. So, if you're looking for people to play with, hop into Discord, hop into one of the games, hop into the channels, ask for guild invite. You never know the friends you're gonna make in game that turn into real life game. I mean, Alakaz and Ozrin moved out here, to Phoenix because they knew us in game and they're looking for a place to move to, and we're like, we're here, come stay. They stayed at our house for a month. So
Elkhart and Kimmy got together because they played in AIE WoW together, and now they're married and also played D&D together.
Yep, exactly. So, would you like me to wrap this up? Since you're a little robot-y?
We'll see if I can. Do you want to wrap it up?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it'll be better.
Yes, I have a small boy that is really eager to talk to me right now.
Okay, so we will wrap this up, but this is our show for tonight. While the chat room begins suggesting show titles, I want to thank my amazing co-hosts and our amazing co-hosts for all that they do. If you do want to come on the show to talk about whatever AIE members you want to, up around game, real life, let us know. We are more than welcome to have you on the show.
And if you have a question or comment about our show, you can email us at podcast@aie-guild.org. You can follow us on Twitter. The show is at AIE Podcast. I am at Billy Bucow. McCullough is at Cyberwaif. And Tetsemi is at Ivory Tiger. We record live with video every other Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. You can join the chat room and play along with us on our website, which is aie-guild.org/podcast-live-stream. And our Discord server for chat is at bit.ly/AIE Podcast Discord. Our theme was composed by the amazing Andrew Allen. Follow him with at KeysWithSoul on Twitter, or visit his website, keyswithsoul.com.
All right, and now it is time to play all of the great AIE segments we received this week, including a blank folder. Sorry, folks, we didn't get any. I know Hunts has been very busy, and so has Buxley, so we hopefully will have new segments from them coming up shortly. But we will be back in 2 weeks. Hopefully, we're going to try and finagle the STO folks to get on and talk about that, because I have been dabbling in that. That's a very fun game. It is free to play. Yep. No subscription needed. So, download it, hop on in. All right. So until then, AIE, this is Tetsemi.
This is Miguel.
This is Paula.
Maybe.
And this has been the AIE Podcast.
You are still a robot.
She's a
Coughing robot.
hacking, coughing robot. Oh.
Oh, God. Someone
Sorry.
kill me.
Yeah. I honestly don't know what happened. Sorry.
I don't know. Oh, okay.
But
Prepare for
but we
news
got
story.
through. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
that's
Yep, if you have to throw those in the bottom,
Yeah, that's just weird. I have no idea why someone started roboting.
I don't
It's just
either.
you. It's just you because Tets is fine.
Yeah, usually it's me. And it moved upstairs apparently. So
Oh, I like that.
3 character sheets
Oh
to the
my
wind.
God, 3 character sheets to the wind.
There you go.
So I'm
Yeah.
all the hosts. What's your name? Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
I don't know, guys. There's some. I'm liking 3 character sheets to the wind since we kind of focused a little bit on character stuff.
I agree.
But there's some really great. There's some really fabulous. All of them. So many welcome back campaigns because we do have so much stuff wrapping up.
So crunchy.
No, there's some good stuff.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think should we just take the 3 character sheets to the wind because that seems to speak to us.
Go for it.
Yeah, I'm digging that one. And plus, I
All
was
right.
so disconnected. I sounded like I was drunk. People.
So yeah, you know. All right. Well, chat room, we're gonna kill this because we've got
Bye, chat room.
dinner to make. And thank you all for joining us as always. We appreciate it.